Hey guys, it's Eric here and this is my unboxing and review of the OPPO Reno 11 5G. In the box we get an envelope that houses the SIM ejector tool, a CPU case, safety and quick guide. Here we can see all the 4G and 5G bands that it supports. We get a 67-watt Super VOOC fast charger and a USB Type-C cable. On the front, we have a 6.7-inch curved AMOLED display with 120Hz refresh rate. At the top, we have a centered punch hole that houses a 32-megapixel selfie camera. On the back, you have a 50-megapixel main camera, a 32-megapixel telephoto lens, and an 8-megapixel ultra-wide lens with dual flash. On the left, you have nothing. On the right, you have your power button and volume rocker. On the top, you have a microphone, an IR blaster, and a speaker. On the bottom, you have another speaker, a USB Type-C port, a microphone, a hybrid tray that houses 2 nano SIM cards or 1 SIM and 1 SD card. The Reno 11 5G design has some of the same sleek design signatures as last year's Reno 8T 5G. However, some buttons have been moved around and the camera island has gained some weight. When I first saw OPPO Reno 11 5G design in a picture, I was not completely sure of what I thought about it, but just looking at it in the flesh and how much space that camera bump takes, it does scream premium. Slim bezels all around and pretty lightweight. It's basically a big screen phone that is fairly easy to type on in one hand and won't break your nose when it accidentally sleeps at nighttime. The display is super bright and we get smooth scrolling thanks to that 120Hz refresh rate, and there's that HDR10 Plus support for a better viewing experience on streaming platforms like Amazon Prime. Its dual stereo speakers here are super loud, and here is how it sounds side by side the Reno 8T 5Gs. The Reno 11 5G comes with 256 gigs of storage and 12 gigs of RAM. We also get an additional 12 gigs virtual RAM that, quite frankly, we won't be needing. 24 gig RAM combined is rather excessive. We are running on Android 14 with ColorOS 14. Aside all the cool customization and privacy features that we saw on ColorOS 13, the 14 brought on this really cool feature that improves the smart sidebar. It's called the file dock, and what this essentially does is let you save files, text, and images which you can then quickly access to share or run an image search on without having to leave the app, and it all happens on a floating window. You can even long press to get rid of the background of any image and then drag it to your file dock. I guess 12 gigs of RAM is not overrated after all, cause calling out the sidebar is so smooth all the time. Something else we can do is use the infrared remote to control all our home appliances. For those that don't like to get up to fetch the remote, this is our bread and butter. The Reno 11 5G uses the Mediatek Dimensity 7050 CPU clocked at 2.6 GHz, and this is a very decent mid-range chip for all purpose use, from messaging to social media to gaming. This phone is designed for multitasking because not only can I use 2 apps at once, but I can quickly pull out my recent file and share it on either one of those without any hiccup. Even the little things we hardly notice like phone signals have been improved here. I played PUBG on HDR graphics and ultra frame rates, and then Call of Duty on high graphics and very high frame rates, and then switching to max frame rates drops the quality to low. Regardless, the gameplay is pretty smooth, and because of that 12 gig RAM, you can do a lot more stuff without lag while gaming. The under-display fingerprint sensor works like a charm, something we've come to expect from devices in this price range. The Reno 11 5G comes packed with 5000 mAh battery, which has been the standard for a few years now. OPPO claims their battery retains more than 80% of its health after 4 years, and the OPPO Find N2 flip phone that I used for over a year has 98% battery health left, so the math does add up. Charging speed is very impressive. It took me around 49 minutes for a full charge with the charger that came in the box. Moving on to the camera, OPPO makes a big claim about the Reno 11 5G being the portrait expert, so let's jump right into it. I took some shots at the launch event, and the first thing I noticed even before the blur effect is the dynamic range. I love how it handles the sky, the buildings, and the light reflections. We also get very decent blur and real skin tones post-processing. Outdoors, the results are very sharp and the margin for error is nearly zero. This photo was taken at sunset, and the post-processing even recognizes the single strand of hair around his ear. this is really impressive. The selfie camera won't give you all of that thin hair precision, but it is still pretty decent, and hey, they didn't say it was the selfie expert. For point and shoot photos, this camera is definitely in the top percentile. Colors always come out looking natural and crispy. None of that magenta tone that needs to be edited before posting on some mid-range phones and even some flagships. The ultra wide and 5x zoom in low light are the only mid-range looking output I got from this primary camera. So this is what the front-facing camera looks like. We are currently recording in 4K at 30 frames per second using the same background lighting and everything, and this is the quality that we're getting. So if you want to vlog with this camera, this is something that you can expect. Let me switch on over to the back camera. This is the back camera using the same background, so let me know which you prefer, 4K with the front facing camera or 4K with the back camera. I'm currently recording a portrait video using the selfie camera, and this is the portrait mode using the primary camera. So let me know if this works for your YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, and TikToks. The OPPO Reno 11 5G is pretty much an all-round upgrade from the Reno 80 5G with icing on top. It's got nearly everything you want in a uniquely designed phone and a remote controller, however, it cannot swim. We have 4 years of fluency protection, and according to the announcements in India, we can expect 3 major OS upgrades. That is if you're disciplined enough to use your phone for that long, and I highly recommend that you do that. The Reno 11 5G is available in all the major retail stores nationwide. I'd love to know your thoughts about it in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up and share it. Also follow me on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram to see what I'm up to. Do subscribe for more videos like this, as it will mean a lot to me, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.